very much. When my wife Utsa and I came back to India in 1973 to join JNU, the School of Social Sciences, which we joined, was of course the real kind of center of the university. That school had, at that time, 4 major centers or departments. One, of course, was the History Center, which was the real piece de resistance. And in that, you had outstanding professors like S. Gopal, Romila Thapar, Bipin Chandra, Sabyasachi Bhattacharjee, K.N. Panikar, and others. The other major centers were, of course, sociology, political science, and regional development, which mainly dealt with issues relating to geography. Sociology Center basically had 2 big professors. One was Professor Yogendra Singh, who had come from Lucknow, and the other was Professor T.K. Oommen. Professor Oommen, in fact, was a major contributor to the intellectual ferment which characterized JNU of those days. There was massive discussion on all kinds of issues, and of course he was a major contributor to it, because also he was somewhat iconoclastic in his attitude towards issues. He did not really take straightforward kind of positions like others did, but he always had his own take on issues, and so he really stimulated a lot of discussion. We lived on the same campus, originally in the old campus. Subsequently, we moved to the new campus. He used to go for evening walks, and on some of these walks, I would actually join him. And during those walks, we would have lots of discussions. Particularly, he would tell me a lot about Kerala society, from which I learned a great deal, and what is more, subsequently when I worked in Kerala for about 5 years in the planning board, that was of great help to me. But of course, among the many things which I learned from him, there is one thing which I had to unlearn, and that is because he once told me during one of the walks that we were having that that the time that K.R. Gauriamma, the well-known Kerala communist leader, had been passed over for the chief ministership of the state. So he told me that Kerala would never elect a person belonging to the Iduva community as the chief minister of the state. At that time, it was in fact quite true. But of course, the state moved on from there, and subsequently you have had several Iduva chief ministers, including the current one. And Professor Oommen would have been the very first person to acknowledge it, to acknowledge the fact that he was wrong at that time, and to have been happy about the fact that he had been wrong at that time. He was, of course, outstanding as a sociologist, which was manifest in the fact that he became the president of the International Sociological Association, I'm told the first from Asia, not just from India. And later on, when we all retired, we moved to a place where we actually lived cheek by jowl with one another, the National Media Centre, where he was actually elected the president of the Residents Association. He had enormous amount of organizational ability, and of course he was widely respected for his wisdom and for his civility, quite apart from his intellectual depth and of course his meticulous attention to detail, which was manifest in the Sachar Committee report, for instance, for which he did a great deal of the supervised a great deal of the statistical empirical work. So altogether, with Professor Oommen's passing, there is a huge void which is left in the intellectual life of this country. Thank you.